done with hero picks for Oh My Venus, but no, it's gonna be the US special. It's the Valentina.
These two teams, they like even with the changes that they go through, they know how to draft against each other. They know how to play against each other. And,
it's so smooth too.
It is. It's smooth.
Right? They know what's gonna happen like beforehand. I love how it was basically passed on. Right? We have different coaches, obviously, from either side, basically almost. With the addition of Etomax, Master the Basics, obviously taking head right now as coach. It's interesting that they feel like what they were previous seasons ago.
It's our showtime.
Oh, here we go though.
All right. Quad's coming up.
And again, that is the tendency for the season. If your blue side opponent has not picked their marksman, you will pick the marksman on the red side as the third pick and just priority ban marksmen for the second phase of the banning. Brody might be a prio ban here for Blacklist, but they might even be considering the idea that he's going to be playing Nathan, and by he, I mean Kelra.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, excuse me. Harith.
We're also thinking about Melissa. Those heroes are very important. The Harith actually is something that really plays with a lot of emotions of teams, right? Do we have to? Is it worth it to ban out this hero?
Oh, that's very true.
Right?
Teams really do consider that.
They get caught by surprise. And there it is. Oh, that's an indicator. A Lolita ban means they want to go for a really hard marksman, so maybe Harith's not.
What if they also play the Leslie, though? Like, we've seen that trend
sense,
today. You know, and if it goes in the hands...
Leslie's last game, right?
Yeah, actually, previous two series, technically, if I remember right, even the first series, she popped up, right? So that's what I'm wondering. Do you put that in the hands of Kelra here?
No, honestly, that does look good. Kelra doesn't need to worry about a Farsa. They have the Eve on their side. So a Leslie would slot in really well here for the lineup of Ryzen, or for the lineup of Omega, rather. And so the Matilda gets taken out, so that is four Venus
bans.
heroes gone.
All right. So, by the way, if you just watched right now, Leslie's on 100% win rate. Is it? Oh, wait, 66%?
We have to point out here, literally all of the heroes that Oh My Venus has played this season are no longer available for picking.
Oh, my goodness. Even the... Oh, man, that is
because
true.
with the Faramis permaban, all of them are gone. We're going to see Oh My Venus play something new here.
Here's the Minotaur.
Could be.
Here comes the Minotaur.
I wonder if they consider a Popple and Cooper Rome. But
there's
Florin.
All right, no Minotaur, but Florin is gonna be in. The first Florin of the season, picked up by Blacklist International.
Okay, so I'm happy that there's like a double debut going on right now, right? We're gonna see Owl play. We're also gonna be seeing Florin for the first time for this season, and really see how it fits into the meta. Because actually, even I'm sitting here wondering, yes, the play style is still, you want to sustain, you want to help support the team and everything here. So I'm wondering how they also capitalize this. Like, how do they build around this with that last pick for the XP lane?
The Cho still kind of, oh, there it is. Cho still kind of works. There you go, another Miko special. So to close out this lineup, though, they might need a little bit of burst somewhere there. I can smell the Paquito, bro.
Right?
I can smell the Paquito from a mile away.
I mean, it would make sense if they'd want to pick things like a Yuzhong. I mean, La Paquito into an Eve is a little bit terrifying at times, but I wouldn't mind if they pick La Paquito right now. But Yuzhong is still available. Lapu is still available. A lot of the Edward picks are still up on the board 100%,
here. 100%. It's going to be a damage-dealing XP laner here, because that's severely lacking. Benedetta's not a bad pick, but again, the presence of the Cho, I was going to say the presence of the Cho makes it a little bit hard sometimes to play a Benedetta, but there it is. Agent Zero, very comfortable on the Benedetta, is going to be the last slot for Blacklist International.
Yeah, and it makes sense because with, again, Omega playing an objective team fighting, a skirmish lineup with an Eve on their side. By the way, Omega has the Eve and the Harith as more scaling, although Harith scales pretty quickly. They needed someone who could really space out the map.
There it is. We got our predictions down for this matchup. And I have to say, Omega's still looking good. I have to say their lineup right now, it's a little squishy for my liking. But I'm still pretty confident that they are going to have some fight here, despite these predictions.
They should have the fight. They should have the objective advantage, right? I mean, you've got Eve, You've got a great final slash that you can use to even capitalize on the real-world manipulation. And then also, Miko, right? If Miko can actually find pickoffs, and then you layer that Zalman Force on top of that Death Box, you have all the tools you need to fight these objective fights if you're Smart Omega.
Here it is. We are loading up on the game one. It's Smart Omega versus Blacklist International. It's definitely the El Clasico of the Philippines. In Indonesia, they've been using that word a lot. I don't know if you guys saw that, but this is gonna be, it's gonna be the true El Clasico right here, folks.
So many El Clasicos of this one all over the world, honestly. Like,
oh my gosh.
I am willing to start pitching more names for signature mashups. Like in my
The Duo de Lubio.
Yeah. That make
there needs to be like a name for the specific
Duo,
matchup.
yo, you're right. Duo de Lubio sounds good, man.
Yeah, a specific matchup like what's a good agent versus barangay fight? I don't know, man.
The Raid.
Well, you can't say that because then there's a hard.
That's a high level. That's a high level
true.
thing. Yeah.
With a great Filipino bash. It's like
I don't want to
like
just
the
throw,
great
I don't
American
want to
bash.
throw
I'm not-
anything out
I'm
there.
not-
Yeah.
Not
might
that with
might
that-
cross lines.
Oh, it's a pay-per-view event in wrestling.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the
That's
Great
what-
American
That's
Bash.
what the creative writers are for, right?
Yeah, man.
And if it's Omega for Blacklist, definitely should be a pay-per-view, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So here we go. Again, there are different changes that happen between both of these teams. A huge difference from what they were in previous seasons. Obviously, some players got shifted out. Some players started coaching, so we'll have to wait and see if the addition, the replacement to the Chakmama Miko is going to be up to par, which right now is having his flicker used up.
Okay, so that's actually big, right, as this leads into this first turtle of the game here. And very aggressive decisions already from Blacklist International, right? So now they start this up. Miko should be hitting, where is he? He should be hitting level 4 soon.
Yeah.
But he probably won't have it for this turtle fight. Okay, he does have it now.
Right.
But he doesn't have the flicker. So he's got to be able to force this situation here. Renzu going to jump in. There's the real world manipulation. There's the kick on Wise. Ryzen able to secure the turtle, though. Now Renzu going to have to flicker out. And this is the best case scenario for Smart Omega. Grab the objective, get out of there.
That was interesting because Miko pulled it off without any. The way of the dragon was just the delay. There was no kill potential. There was nothing there except to delay that retry.
Man, I'm just gonna say, if I was Ryzen, the moment I saw Wise flying closer to me in the turtle because Wise got kicked back, I'm like, Miko, what you doing? And now Miko just made things a little bit spicier there, but a little bit of control, the hang time Wise had while he was flying in there. He got his retribution off, but just a second late because he was controlled.
Definitely very clutch there at the very minimum.
Yeah.
If he was off by like a millisecond, the retribution would have definitely gone down. It would have been a 50-50. But there you go. Once more, the guy who has a lot of big shoes to fill as well on the other side for Omega is Miko against Chakmamba.
Yeah, that's what, but again, you know, this is what I expected their lineup. Now he's going to be set up again. There's the Way of the Dragon on Oh My Venus. Zalman Force to come out too. The heal is there, but it's not enough. First blood drawn by Ryzen. Smart Omega getting on the board here.
Man, the heal from Florence Ultimate Bloom is crazy. I didn't expect that to be that strong this early on. That might be something that Omega wants to watch out for, but they're pressuring Owl.
Oh, Owl could be in trouble here. Can he survive this? The team now here a little bit too late, but they do punish Ryzen, the one-for-one trade. Looking for more. Miko waiting patiently. UA also using the ultimate. There's the Way of the Dragon now on Wise. Zalman Force going to come out here. Kelra bobbing and weaving back and forth. Doesn't have enough firepower just yet. Stone, they're going to force him back as well.
Well, Omega back off of that fight. Keller was slow. If he had more mana, they could have continued that. But now the Purify has been burned. A minute, though, so it's going to be a timer the Blacklist International are going to be watching out for here. Both teams Omega a little bit more aggressive here. Blacklist International, though, they need to stop the tempo of Omega at some point because this is why you have a pairing such as a Cho and then a Harith together in a lineup. You're the one who wants to play this game really quickly.
That's
how
true.
you rotate the map position and pick off like this.
Oh,
Speed it up.
okay.
Ooh.
They're going to trade Owl. Owl goes down top side, but this should be an objective. Ryzen's still going to look for an entry if he can find it. Can't get it secured by Wise. Also using the Appraiser's Wrath. So, Blacklist International, they might have lost Owl, but they get an objective.
No one stopping the King of the Jungle for the retry means that it's going to be pretty much a Blacklist objective. This time around, what seems to be the plan of Omega here? Is Owl on the top of their hit list? Apparently so.
Oh, definitely. If you have a lineup with a Hareth on you and you're up against a Claude, you want to bombard the gold lane as quickly as possible, as much as possible, so that you delay the farm of the Claude. I mean, already 2 deaths into Owl early on. This seems like a very Omega thing to do. I mean, it was a key to victory. Exploit Owl's debut in the MPL. Although Owl is very experienced, he's a gold medal winner. This is still the MPL, as you put it earlier, Rockhart, where even though you come in with a lot of experience beforehand, this is a different stage, whole different field.
Miko's going to get the Way of the Dragon off on Wise, but he's so tanky. Has the help of the team as well. Do they have enough damage to get the kill? They do. Kaura finds it. Now going to run for the hills. Ryzen there on the angle. Now looking for a crash down. They get the flicker out from Oh My Venus. And it's only 1 down here for Blacklist International.
Oh, they don't seem to be done yet. They want to go for round 2 here around the mid lane, but Agent Zero, of course, very capable of escaping those fights.
Oh, flashy moves there by Edward. But Omega are undeniably in the lead here. And this is expected, honestly, with the lineup the Blacklist fielded. It's very honest. Their mid to late game, they're actually focusing the do onto... If I'm not mistaken, it's going to be going into the hands of Owl right now.
Yep, that is correct. And that is a shield. And I actually had to double check if Bloom has enough healing. You're right. Yeah. Early game healing's pretty good, but later on in the game, it's going to fall off a little bit.
Okay, they're going to focus on Edward. He hasn't used the Petrify just yet. Going to try to get out. It was a little too late. Falls bottom side. Now the response from Blacklist International. 3rd turtle of the game. Going to come up here, and the dance is going to start. The numbers advantage.
Yeah, there seems to be the advantage.
Omega. Miko, though, going to get zoned and poked down a little bit here. Going to be secured by Ryzen, though.
Really maximizing this show right now, brother. It's so hard for Wise to get positioned with Miko around.
Yeah, and there was a good call by Blacklist. You saw initially Wise actually wanted to put some focus onto Miko, try and take him down, because with Miko down, then Omega will think twice. Here in the bottom lane, you already see here the signature Omega lane switch. Keller has gone to the bottom lane.
There you go. So right now, once more, Blacklist just sticking to their win condition here, just trying to delay the game as much as they can. Oh My Venus is basically on just vision duty right now. And Agent Zero this time around having a hard time with his lane.
Yeah, the gambit here actually is with Keller going bot lane, this gives a little bit more space for Owl to get some more farm. So Renzo now will hold it, but yeah, it's an Arlot that he's up against.
Still scary.
Still scary. Oh, the Florin breaking the tower. I never thought I'd see the day.
Well, you know what? I was surprised that happened too, but one thing I'm really wondering is how effective will this Florin be as we get to mid-late game, especially when you know you're going to be forced to fight in these objectives from Smart Omega?
Yeah, I'm really watching the scaling here. I literally have my game client up to see those numbers, and it's not looking good in the late game, I have to say.
Yeah, well, they're going to be battling out here. Renzio going to flicker out. Focus on him is still there. He's going to fall. UA grabbing the kill. But still, you got Ryzen parked in the bottom side, going to push that up. But a nice little kill there for Blacklist International. But so far, Smart Omega still controlling the game.
Yeah, Blacklist are now upping the tempo, though. They're going into Ube mode at this point. UA focusing on getting the ultimate of the Eve. Is really Ryzen going to be able to take it on Edward here?
Man,
backs off.
What is up? Agent Zero seems to be having a hard time today with Edward being just bullied. And
you're in enemy territory. They're going to crash down. Stone did fall. Razor's Wrath was used too. All this leading up into the first Lord of the game as we see both teams getting ready in position here. Both still holding on to their Tier 1 turrets too. So it's an even Stevens game for now.
Yep. Omega though looking really good, I have to say, but until when can they keep this up? That's a big question.
Yeah. At this point, though, the damage of a Hareth is going to be more felt compared to a damage of a Claude. They still have to watch out. A lot of utility on the side of Blacklist, and most importantly, a lot of interrupts, actually. The Sprout from the Florin, of course, the chain of interrupts and taunts, crowd control coming in from the Fredrin, and, of course, the Terrify of the Valentina. In the past few fights and skirmishes that we've seen, Blacklist International has been catching Omega off guard with those.
Even on the gold, though, that's actually the most surprising part. But we can see that right there, movement.
Okay, Edward, Renzio in a 1v1. He's just putting pressure where he needs to, right? Renzio going to go ahead and let him go back to base. They're going to get in position here still, but at least Edward able to put pressure bottom side, get the turret, and now still one of the big things is getting these mid lane turrets down. You can even see Owl scraping for any gold that he can gain to really be a valuable part of this team fight that is going to unfold here if they continue with this Lord.
The 4v4.
Okay, they're going to push home. There's Owl. He comes in with Blazing Duet. The heal
heal
is huge. The sustain is there. Ryzen getting pushed back. Oh my Venus has to flicker as well. Now Kelra, the fighting force here, not going to be enough. As Renzio a little bit too late, using the final slash. Going to get chased down mid lane. And Blacklist International now in a prime position to take the first Lord of the game here. Ryzen still might look for an angle, but he's got to be careful. Edward also waiting patiently. They're going to zone them out the best they can. And this Lord is looking like it's going to go in the hands of Blacklist International.
I can just imagine the comms on Omega. Why is no one dying? They've been trying so hard.
Yo, that heal was intense.
That was clutch.
That heal was intense. Very clutch indeed. Signature Oh My Venus. Like, similar to how she plays the Estes, waits for the latest possible moment to pop off that heal to completely turn a team fight around. As you look at the items, my goodness. Quickly, just like that, Owl even has like a slight lead advantage over Kelra. That Claude spiked up quickly, and that was just a string of great engagements and skirmishes coming in from Blacklist.
Considering how much focus was put on Owl early game, he's done a great job at keeping up with Kelra, right? I mean, look at the gold.
That's exactly what I was about to point out. I mean, it was not far off. And if you're a Claude, you expect to lose out on that phase. So far out, with the help of their team, his teammates,
Man,
really keeping up the part.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think all the healing coming from Blacklist, and that's considering the fact that that's 3 dominance ices on the side of Omega. Yet the heal being dished out by the Florin is just like that.
That's really saying something.
Well, right now, it's just Blacklist International getting the space they need, playing around this first Lord. It is taken care of pretty quickly by Smart Omega. So they're happy with what they got. They flipped the gold lead in their favor now. And now it's time for Smart Omega to step this up. They did have that lead. They had everything they wanted. They got to get back into this portion of the game, though.
It's crazy to think that Florin is just like an Estes, but with a stun.
Yeah,
instead of a slow. That's what Florin feels like. The more I'm seeing this, I'm like, oh, it's just like Estes. I mean, not exactly, but think about it. A first skill that heals, a second skill that controls, a third, an ultimate that deals massive heal to your entire team.
There should be a new stat. They're most healed.
Yeah.
We should have, I don't know if you guys hear me, production, but let's add that someday.
That's just going to be Venus.
That's going to be the biggest input here of the room for Blacklist.
Yeah, I mean, that was my question minutes ago, right? It was like, how useful, how valuable will this Florin pick be? Because now, you know, with it being debuted here and showcased, does this add another option, you know, for even other teams to utilize? Because it seems to be working out pretty well so far.
Oh, I still think the Minotaur is a great pick.
Well, no, I agree with you. It's one of the picks that finally helped bring me to MG. Who was a Minotaur this season?
Congratulations, by the way, to Raptor for reaching mythical glory just before the season ended.
That's right.
Clutch.
It has reset, and now it's time to grind again.
Yeah. And Omega need to reset and grind right now.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's crazy to think. I'm really thinking that I wish someone in Omega could actually build a Sea Halberd. It would be a perfect item, but since they don't have a marksman with them, and it's gonna be it's a mage damage dealer.
Durance for Kelra, maybe.
Yeah, Durance is there, but
wasn't
a Sea Halberd would be so much more punishing because of the new punish mechanic of the Sea Halberd dealing more damage.
Okay,
there it is.
Miko gonna find the kick exactly on who he needed to. The heals are not gonna be there for Oh My Venus as she falls. Appraiser's Wrath gonna come down.
Bang!
Miko goes pop. They're still focusing on it. Ryzen gonna get forced out. Edward joining the party. Finds the lockdown with the Petrify. 2 fall for Smart Omega. And what looked like a good moment, they lose the Lord here to Blacklist International.
And Yue with a free-man final slash, just nailing the coffin there for that Lord.
You also can't deny there the involvement of Al. Yes, Edward put the focus on him. Agent's assist, now ranked 17th in total assists in MPL-PH history with 1,192, just surpassing one of the legendary XP laners, Kilowash, of course. Kilowash, a legend in his own right. And the involvement of Al in that last sequence, you saw there Omega wanted to continue fighting, especially Ryzen wanted to string more dashes together to consider taking down Wise. But since Al kept himself at a good distance and actually just decided to free hit, that was immediately a deterrent. It's like, oh no, this Claude hurt. So the members of Omega had to back off.
Now for Omega, the ultimate test for Miko. Can you stop a rampaging Claude on your opponent? That is going to be it. We're looking for those really good plays, those Way of the Dragons out of nowhere. We saw one, but it's still not stopping the Blacklist squad so far.
Well, right now, again, they got to defend here. They're going to lose that inhibitor turret top side. Nothing they could really do to hold on to that. They're going to make quick work of this, though, before they lose more. Blacklist International, eye set on the mid lane. Ryzen clearing the wave the best he can. And Omega still holding on to this game. And now Edward showing up bottom side with the rest of the team. You're not going to be able to commit just yet. Ryzen going in, forcing them back. They do use the real world manipulation. They get the flicker out from Oh My Venus. Do they ensue? Looks like they're going to call it off for now.
All right, that's going to be the safe play. And they did get some damage done to the Omega base. One inhib on top side is going down, but it looks like they still want to fight.
Yeah, the CC,
Again, that pressure to do a really strong play got into Miko, but also got played by Edward. That was seen from a mile away.
Yeah, eye for an eye, just at the right moment so that he wouldn't get knocked up. Oh, that was fast hands there by Agent Zero.
Yeah, that's why it's so tough, right? I mean, this is what we were talking about when Miko locked in this show. It's always the responsibility of him to find those moments for the team, to find the setups, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Oh,
and
that's juicy.
Yeah, they know how to play around this. Actually, he's going to be looking for Oh My Venus again. Can they get the kill they're looking for? Winter Tronchet comes down. Real world manipulation goes. The Queen has fallen. Renzio goes down as well. Now Al the focus. Can he escape? He can. Ryzen gets the kill, but 3 down for Omega. And it's now a 2 versus 3. Ryzen trying to escape. Edward, can he get away? A dash and a dash. And now Stome, all to his own. Wise.
The retro
is too much. And now it's all up to Ryzen. He's caught in a bad place. Immortality is popped. And he is still running for the hills. As the rest of the members left alive of Blacklist International.
Can he clear
punch it in. I said on game 1, Blacklist International takes the game.
Hear the crowd roar as a sea of agents cheer on Blacklist International with that game 1 victory. No lords necessary for the agents today in that game.
Man, the Florin, you know, sometimes you didn't even get to see the heal pop off. Used that Winter Tronchet, bought some more time, and that just allowed that team fight to unfold. And even though they got a couple members down, Omega got a couple members down, ultimately it came down to just a better team fight for Blacklist International.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's another Estes-like hero. Florin, my goodness, the heal coming out of Bloom. It was the deterrent. Omega fought this game incredibly well. They had some initiations that went their favor, counter engages, but getting off that heal in time, the Sprout stun in time, and then a Blacklist International countering from those scenarios. Oh, insane.
Yeah. First Leslie, now Florian, sitting on 100% win rate. Just let that sink in for a moment, and then you'll find out. When you play that back in your head, that's pretty insane.
It really is. Crazy amount of heal. The first time we saw Bloom drop, I was like, what?
Early game?
Early game in level 4, that's the heal you can dish out?
That last fight, I got to look at it again, because I thought Oh My Venus wasn't able to get it off, but maybe She did get it off.
Actually, I saw it after the Winter Truncheon. Immediately
went off.
and then she died, but it didn't matter.
She did her job. Like, that's all she had to do.
Yeah, once you get
the
that
heal off. Okay, because, first time, honestly, there was a time when I never saw Florin, right? And now that we
even
see
in
her,
ranked games, right?
Yeah, even in ranked games. So now that we see this here in debuted, and going back to Hack of Venus is a thing. Well, now it's even harder. Even if the Faramis is out, now you have Florin to worry about.
It's adding another headache to the teams that MPL Philippines already has right now. I mean, good luck with that. And I have to say, good luck to Reptar in breaking that game down and how that went down for Blacklist International.
Okay, as much as I'd want to say for a second, let's not focus on the Florin. The Florin is undeniably had one of the biggest impacts in this game. The timing of Oh My Venus, again, very signature at this point. Really waiting for the last possible moment to use a big healing ability with Domain of the Moon Goddess or Blessing of the Moon Goddess rather for Estes. Used at the last possible moment. Oh My Venus similarly uses the Bloom, the ultimate of the Florin, at the last possible moment. And let's talk about how this went down, because again, one of the key factors here we talked about would be the roam and mid matchup between Miko Stome and Oh My Venus Yue. Now understandably, Omega was the one setting the tempo. They have a Harith with them. Farm, scale that as quickly as possible. Set the tempo with a Cho. Hence why Omega didn't want to go up against a Matilda rather. Other than it being a good form breaker, the Matilda can stand toe-to-toe with Cho in terms of setting the tempo for the team. Omega didn't want that. But what they were up against was a hero similar to Estes, where in a team fight scenario, it's very powerful. What does the Omega lineup want to do? Get those team fights. And again, the idea of them fighting around the box, playing around the box of the Eve. That Starfield going down. You saw it in the approaches of Omega. Miko Stone together, get a kick, punish right away with real-world manipulation. But Blacklist International also had the real-world manipulation for them. If it wasn't the final slash of the Arlaw that Yue was stealing, it was the real-world manipulation of the Eve that Yue was using to counter-punish and give Omega a taste of their own medicine. Edward is the MVP of this game with his late entries. Wizard is never late. He arrives exactly when he needs to. And that felt like the story of Edward in this game. He would be playing catch-up in terms of, well, he cleared the wave and then he joined in the fight. But Edward, my goodness, still, what a performance by him. His entries here were picture perfect. The Electro Final Blow, Petrify combination into the right targets. And then the cleanup counter punish. And counter punish seemed to be the theme here for Blacklist. Just when you thought you'd knock them out, here comes a heal, here comes Edward, and here comes a real-world manipulation and/or a final slash from Yue to turn things around. And now, again, intense is the healing that the Florin can dish out. And of course, don't forget, Florin with a flower that she could give onto a specified ally that is stats given to her allies, physical attack, magic power, and of course some extra HP. And Florin has a item in herself with her Shimmering Lantern, which eventually evolves into the Lantern of Hope, where it's magic power, plus 10 movement speed, and plus 5% cooldown reduction, which is why Florin, we've seen Blacklist International play that hero for Oh My Venus on her streams for the longest time. We haven't seen Florin for the longest time, but then again, the X factor of the Faramis being a permaban, Florin is an option here. And Omega, I won't be surprised if they're going to change their approaches in the draft later on. Maybe sort of reduce the Hack of Venus strategy, because now you have the Florin to compete against potentially. Now for the other members of Blacklist, again, I still want to comment Owl here. He had a very tough early game. As expected, he was pressured by Omega early on, but especially there in the end, he came up big in the clutch to be able to free hit, deal damage, stay alive for as long as he can. He got punished there by Al and he was found out, but at this point, he got to deal enough damage as a Claude to make sure Blacklist International would win that engagement. The counter engage. One of the signature Blacklist International approaches to a team fight. Just when you thought that you have us down, we're going to turn this fight around. Gentlemen, that was classic Blacklist.
Yeah, classic Oh My Venus, actually.
Yeah.
Oh My Venus has had the reputation of just bringing out the best in players. And I have to say, I think that he did as well here, especially for Owl's debut game. This is massive.
Yeah.
And I have to say, huge deserve. Huge deserve there for Agent Zero. 0-1 and 6 MVP. Whenever that happens, whenever you see an MVP performance from a player that doesn't have kills, you know that he influenced the game in intangible ways for them to earn that victory.
He had clutch, I mean, even some of those objective fights, he didn't kill anyone, right? But he set things up, and he actually got a lot of attention just using that Vendetta the way that we've seen him do it before. The Petrifies were on point, but still, you got to commend also Owl with his debut game, his matchup here, obviously, you know, the way he's going to be feeling.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to hear. But I hear that we have an interview from Mara here in our audience. Let's check out what's happening there.
Puro legends ang kasama natin dito ngayon. Bumalik si Jacknu. Wala siyang date last time. Magdala siya ng isang date. Si Rebo! Hey! Welcome, guys! Uy, kanina naglaro yung dati mong team. Ba't ngayon ka lang?
Na-late ng gising. Hindi ako na-inform na may laban sila eh.
Oo, okay. Bakit late ang gising mo?
Galing inom.
Oo. One shot or more than one shot?
More than.
More than. Sino sa nasuportahan mo?
Siyempre Omega.
Oh, Omega. Okay. Sige nga, ano sa tingin mo mangyayari ngayon? Sweep, reverse sweep. Based sa game 1.
Reverse sweep yan. Dito kami.
Oh, yan. Eto alam mo, Rebo, you are known for your honest opinion. Diretso ka talaga magsalita. So, okay, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Sinong sa tingin mo nakupunan ang humina this season?
Yung mga nasa uli. TNC. Hindi, pero sa tingin ko ang umina Blacklist.
Bakit sa tingin mo?
Dati, lagi silang top 1 eh.
That's right.
Ngayon, parang tinatalo na sila ng Bren o tsaka Omega o Echo.
Pero hindi pa tapos ang laban. Sino sa tingin mo ang mas lumakas? Sinong nagtaas ng lakas ngayong season?
Bren, top 1 eh.
Okay, tama, Bren. Now, kung meron kang top 4, okay, napapasok sa semifinals, anong mga koponan yon?
Bren, Echo, Blacklist, Omega.
Bren, Echo, Blacklist, and Omega. So sa apat na yon, sino ang top 2? Sa Grand Finals?
Hirap ba?
Di ba?
Siguro Echo, Omega.
Echo and Omega. Ooh, interesting. So, ano ba nangyayari sa tingin mo sa Omega na, yun nga, sa umpisa, di ba, they're a bit slow, tas ngayon umaakit na. What is it? What's happening? Ano ba the mind of a player? What's happening?
Siguro, nagkakamali lang sila sa communication.
Nagkakamali. Tama ba yon? Yung communication, yun ba? Yun ba? Jack, kukunin mo yung mic. Bakit? May napansin ako, iba yung communication ngayon ni Kelra. Nag-mature siya. Agree ka?
May.
Ano yun? Ano yun? Naka-on yan.
Hello?
Ay, hello! Hello, Jack. Okay. Ano, hindi mo na nakakasama si Kelra?
Oo.
Bakit? Ano bang ginagawa mo?
Wala.
Wala. Ay, may tanong ako. Okay, ikaw kasi known as one of the greatest tank players. Nagta-tank salot ngayon. What do you think about tank salot?
Teka, ang ingay nila, hindi ko narinig.
Ay,
Ulit.
yung nagta-tank salot ngayon, hindi nakita yan before, pero what do you think about it? Gagamitin mo ba yung tank salot kung ikaw pa yung naglalaro?
Ang ginamit ko yun sa 1v1, madaya yun.
Ginamit mo sa 1v1. Eto, parehas kayo known as the legends sa MPL. Kung meron tayong iboboto na makakasama sa Hall of Legends, sino yung boto mo?
Number 1 idol ko si Sapno.
Zapnu. Okay, bakit si Zapnu?
Isa rin kasi siya sa mga nagpakilala ng ML sa Pinas.
Oh.
Parang mga ganun.
Tama. Ikaw naman, Rebo, sino yung iboboto mo sa Hall of Legends?
Siyempre, yung idol ko, si Zapno.
Si Zapnu talaga. Okay, bakit?
Kasi, kasabayan ko yun eh. dapat kasama ko rin siya sa Hall of Legends.
Ay, pwede rin kayong bumoto sa ating Hall of Legends. Meron tayong isa na mananalo para sa Season 11. Ngayon, pupunta na tayo sa casters. Ikaw, bato mo sa casters, ha? Yung parang ginagawa ko, okay? But Shaq New style. Shaq New, go ahead, bato sa casters.
May sahod na to, ha?
Fried chicken yan, fried chicken.
Anong ali yan?
Bato mo sa casters.
Sa inyo na, casters.
All right. I don't know how much we're gonna pay if we can even afford Shakno, but welcome back. And yeah, two legends right next to Maracino. Obviously, have had some pretty interesting opinions.
Yeah. And I'm sure, like, some of the international viewers out there, if they don't know Chaknu, like, that's just how he is in person. But man, when he's in game and he's one of the best roamers in the world that has ever played, the guy's a monster.
He's a literal genius.
He's a genius, and, you know, he's had some of the most epic moments in just MLBB history. So that's the dynamic of him in person and him in game.
Yeah, and of course, Rebo there, the first GOAT in MPL Philippines and MLBB Philippines scene. And now we've just turned into a goat farm. We have multiple goats all over the Philippines. you got two goats playing there right now with Oh My Venus and Wise. We saw the current goat, the only two-time world champion, playing right now earlier in the day. So just goats everywhere in the Philippines.
Actually, before Carl TZ won the world championship, Rebo was the most decorated.
Yeah, that's why he's the first goat.
MLB player in the world. And now, obviously, the new generation stepping in. And they are having their own nominations for the Hall of Legends.
Yep.
So, stay tuned for that. And here we go. It's going to be draft for game number 2.
So I'm wondering, exactly if you're Smart Omega, how do you approach this? Especially with what happened the previous game. And also because, I don't know, watching Smart Omega play, sometimes you have to feel for Miko because sometimes it looks like he's forcing these situations to try to set the team up because if he doesn't do it, they're just going to get further and further behind. Yeah. So I'm wondering exactly how do you do that this time for this game? Because we've seen him do it successfully before, but I feel like more now in recent games, he's kind of been struggling there in that department.
Yeah, I feel like that was an off one. I mean, in the past 3 matches for Omega, I mean, they are on a streak going into this. Miko's done amazingly well for himself, and I feel like that last game was really just at that point, Blacklist International having adjusted their approach and knowing that okay, we can punish Miko here, and that just goes to show the respect the Blacklist has for the roamer and the matchup in terms of how they're gonna set the tempo in terms of Omega. Is the joy gonna be back here for Omega? Is my question. And so far, very targeted here at the bans of Blacklist.
Yeah, speaking of Blacklist, their maximum respect target is gonna be Ryzen. Unspoken. We barely touched on Ryzen in this series.
Yeah.
And they have to say that, according to Blacklist's bans, he's the guy to watch out for in Omega.
Yeah, and I also like how Blacklist banned out here the Beatrix because I was thinking, maybe for this matchup because of the healing heroes that Oh My Venus will have, Omega might consider now putting Killer in a marksman instead. Although other than the Beatrix, he has the Moskov still available for him if ever.
First pick to Fredfred.
All right,
Not too much change in here.
Not that much change at all, but the big changes this time around, we got a few Oh My Venus heroes ripe for the taking, and it's not denied by Omega.
Rushing the Claude right away. I was also thinking about that.
Pretty quick.
I thought he was going to go third pick, but they said, you know what, let's not give that to let's just get the Claude here instead. And if we're going to follow the trends of MDL Philippines, the marksman for Ao might end up becoming, of course, other than the Brody, might actually be the Moskov more favored.
Yeah, Moskov, he played 6 games of that. The Brody, pretty much, I think, around at par. So either one of those actually output some tremendous DPS, which most can be answered by a Lolita pick. I don't know if Miko's going to be willing to give that up for his show, but it seems to be, if that's the way you want to stop Owl, this really rampaging rookie, that's the way to go.
Yeah, you mentioned a Lolita, that might be a pickup. But the Estes was open. The Eve was open too. It's going to be classic Ube for Blacklist.
Oh, it doesn't get classic than this.
Yeah. And it's still, like, even with this, it's still the same boxes that Omega has to tick, right?
Yeah.
They still need to be able to handle that. And that's, again, going back to my point with Miko. Yeah, Lolita would probably be one of the best options because, again, with Cho, you have to have the backup for those sets, right? You have to be able to follow up with that. Yes, there's this R-Lot here, which now we've seen the tenacity, kind of tanky R-Lot, but still, if you're going to put yourself in a situation, it's where it's almost like the Kaja pick, right? Where you are putting yourself in danger and hopefully you have that layering tankiness or CC available to you. And so I'm wondering, again, what does go in the hands of Miko here? Because I would love to see him on something that is more that set potential that isn't just a single member, right? But maybe even a team-wide thing. Lolita's probably going to get banned out, though.
Yeah,
for this
Lolita,
second round.
Atlas, Cho might be the bans. Kaja, Franco, also still actually good for Miko here. So all of the ones that we mentioned, honestly, they can just decide. All of them can sort of like slot in better. And which is why I'd rather see Omega pick their roamer 5th instead of 4th. And then just prioritize their jungler now.
Let's go ahead and do it, right? But again, these are still subject to the bans of Blacklist. I don't know if they're going to go for another jungle ban. Very unlikely, obviously, but you never know.
I am the power of light.
All right, Kaja. I don't know. I don't feel Kaja bans right now because without the fleeting time, I feel like Kaja just kind of falls off a little bit.
Well, we actually saw it, though, that even without the fleeting time, Kaja still does really well, rushing Brute Force Breastplate instead.
Brute Force for the maximum CDR at least. 10%, 10%,
Yeah,
10%.
the priority is Brute Force, Oracle, and then Domi Ice.
That's all your CDR items.
Yeah.
So basically, that's what they try to go for, plus the additional from the emblems.
Yeah.
Right, so. But still, I think at this point, very happy against teams like, for example, Echo, you still want to ban out Yaoi's Kaja, and pretty much the same for Miko, apparently.
Yeah, we'll see if this is going to be that Lolita last ban here. If they focus on the roaming options, again, to kind of narrow the choices here for Miko, it's going to be a Franco. So there's the Franco being taken out. How you feeling about that, Renmar?
A great bans here by Blacklist International, honestly. You take away the 2 suppressors. That could honestly mess up the lineup of Blacklist, so they're respecting that. I'd rather see Omega just consider an Atlas if they want to, honestly. They don't have to worry about a Diggy. They're going to be up against a Ube, but that's most likely going to be a Purify on Estes, and the Eve will probably just try to use a real-world manipulation, maybe even a Purify also for you. So if not the Atlas, Lolita. Atlas or Lolita?
Lolita, man.
It could be all the same, yeah.
You already know the marksman that's going to come out of Owl, right?
It'll most likely be a Moskov. Unless Owl also decides, hey, I'm going to play a Harith also, but maybe.
Maybe. You never know. So here's Yakai. That is going to be their jungle, most likely.
Most likely their jungle. And again, I like this. That means that this is going to be the roamer picked last for the side of Omega. And that's what they needed to do.
All right. Muskov or Brody? Let's flip a coin, guys.
The Brody's banned out. So
Brody's out. Yeah.
So I'm thinking it's Moskov if they want to go, at least with the data that we have from Owl playing an MDL.
Historically, comfort.
Yeah, comfort pick definitely, especially with the last game how much focus was on Owl in lane, and he was 0-2. I think it was 0-2 at the start, and then he did an amazing job staying in terms of gold.
Being hovered over, carry is still open. So that is just going to be a simple carry lock. And yeah, this is a lineup.
Carry's good against
built
Kai.
for carry. And it's a Lapu Lapu. Classic Ube. Very obvious here what Blacklist International want to do. We'll fight as 4, as 5 around objective.
Caught me by surprise a little bit there.
Me too. And there's the carry.
What happened? And the carry, again, great for any tanky heroes. Atlas is going to be a problem.
There we go.
There it is, the Lolita. I'm glad they didn't shy away from that. That makes the most sense, to be honest.
Yeah, I like this because this is what I was talking about. The overlapping of CC and tankiness here. You've got great peel. You've got great setup. And especially if Ryzen can get the lockdowns or even just push Wise away, man. If he can just push him away from these objectives, secure those for Omega, they're going to be in a good position. And also, you already can rely that Kelra is going to be where he needs to be with his Claude.
Yeah, it's going to be a Mika Stone game and then an Owl Kelra game. So similar to the story of game number 1. Let's see how things are going to go this time around. Game number 2.
Yeah, Ryzen this time around on more supportive role on the jungle, but definitely it does fare well against the Fredrin. So that jungle matchup is going to be washed. It's going to be a little bit 50-50.
Yeah.
It's all going to be up to that mid lane. What's it going to be, ladies and gents? Do we have a game free? Let's find out as we load up into the match. Smart Omega versus Blacklist International, game number 2.
Man, I hope for a game 3. Considering that this is the last time for now for the regular season, that these two teams, the RL Clasico, are going to see each other. Hopefully they get to a game 3, and the tools are there, especially for Omega. Again, it just comes down to the execution factor, especially when it comes to these objectives.
Yeah, the actual El Clasico. So we're going to get into this, but early in the game, I have to say, Renzio taking a beating here. And it is Oh My Venus on the bottom side of the map, contrary to what we usually see, which is Roams going with their gold laners.
Lapu Lapu might be hitting 4 before the R-Lot, so slight advantage for them. And that is just them, Blacklist International, showing like, okay, we really want to win the objectives early on here. We don't want to extend this game any further. We have a good mid-game power spike. Let's rush this.
So on
Let's
the
win
bottom lane, instead of a 50-50, it's now skewing to a little bit 55 or 60-40, right? Because of that just simple move.
Yeah. Good adjustment, a good start here, but now just as quickly, Oh My Venus makes the top side, and Kelra is going to have to back off here. Wise though. Oh, dangerous position for him.
So already using that Praiser's Wrath, going to force Renzio to get a little regen here. Still, you know, it's a while until that first turtle comes up. So
yeah,
it's just both teams kind of poking to see where they can possibly get an early play, an early advantage the best way they can before that first objective comes up.
I gotta say, Kelra back on a very comfortable hero, that signature Claude, which I think is one of the heroes that really got him his savages, actually, in previous seasons. I would say that Omega looks better in that department, especially right now that it's not the focus of Blacklist International, man.
Okay, this is going to be interesting, right? Oh My Venus not going to have the level 4 just yet. Actually should be able to get it if that wave is cleared, but will he be able to make it in time? Edward going in. There's a real-world manipulation. Ryzen using the heavy spin. Not low enough on this turtle just yet. Still going to be careful here. Miko not going to find any connection with a Numen on Blast now. Ryzen the focus. They're getting zoned out completely from the first turtle here for Blacklist International to take.
It looked like a miss-aim by Miko for the Numenon Blast. I think he meant to aim that towards the turtle.
Yeah, so he could possibly flicker.
Yeah, flicker
forward,
through the wall and then get the other members of Blacklist. Quick, easy turtle there for Blacklist.
That sounds like a minor thing, but don't forget, against teams like Blacklist International, these minor, I would say, misplays, really, they snowball, right? They snowball into really big things in the later parts of the game.
Again, that's why, you know, I always say with roamers, and we've talked about the different, you know, disciplines, quote, on roaming disciplines, right? And the fact that these decisions, especially early game and as the game goes on, are why these roam players like Oh My Venus are so important to the team and the success. So, you know, like you mentioned, Rockhart, if you make these minor mistakes early on, they do build up, they compound throughout the game here.
So far, so good here for Omega, at least. Though Blacklist are not eking into their jungle, but as of yet, trying to take advantage that Kelra is not really ready for the team fights. And Owl, he's a level ahead.
Yeah, Stone actually going to press the situation. They force Owl back a little bit longer. There's the heavy spin. They're going to cut off Oh My Venus. Ooh. She's in trouble. Into the bush she goes. Can they get the kill? They do. It goes to Miko. Now they got to get out of dodge. There's the real world manipulation. Come down. Miko falls. So it's a 1-for-1. It's a roamer for a roamer.
Renmar, what do you think of that? Cutting off an Estes from his teammates.
Oh, that was a right call by Omega, honestly. And, man, US timing still on point. So good. Really holding on to that real-world manipulation and the usage of that to counter-punish. And swift response there by Blacklist. Oh My Venus falls, but Blacklist got the turnaround.
Huge turnarounds being done by both teams, actually. I would say Omega barely survived that, but it's still going to be Blacklist on the driver's seat for sure here at almost 4.5 minutes into the game.
And they've built themselves already a decent lead, and now for the second turtle, Miko's going to charge up. Not going to find any targets here. Forces them off. There's the heavy spin. Not going to be enough. Wise secures it again. Renzio has to flicker out of there, and it's Omega running for a retreat after losing that turtle.
Even with a heavy spin, Ryzen just not going to have enough to slow down the king of the jungle anytime soon.
Yeah, that was just a clear-out retry win there for Wise. And then at the same time, again, Miko, the timing of that Numeron Blast could be a bit better. Didn't have the flicker then, so he couldn't utilize that combo. Blacklist, though, instinctively as a team, they knew what to do. They saw that charging up, oh, we're just going to sidestep real quickly right here.
Yeah, that sidestep really did wonders here. You can see in itemization, I feel like, you know what, Keller is still in the game, but definitely behind. And yeah, that's where Omega usually takes up their win conditions, but it's being focused down very hardly by Blacklist right now.
Yeah, I would say, you know, Gold Standard's having a hard time with Owl here right now with even the help that Oh My Venus is providing, and now they're just kind of invading this side of the jungle. Praise Wrath going to come down, forcing Miko to flicker again. Not going to have it for initiation for a couple minutes here.
And right now we're just seeing tried and tested the Blacklist Uber strategy right now. They knew they needed to up the pace. They needed to control the game, control the turtles up against that Claude, and that tower is going to fall on the bottom lane, it looks like. There it goes.
It's going to be another tower going down, and Blacklist seem to be doing no wrong here. Even Agent Zero having free reign on any lane that he attacks.
Yeah, he hasn't had to do any. I mean, Edward has just literally been sitting in lane, getting minions, XP, gold, everything else. He really hasn't had to do much, you know, and that's, in his case, that's the best case scenario for him. Now, at this point in the game, almost 7 minutes in, they've garnered themselves a 3K gold lead here. And Omega's going to have a hard time. They really got to be able to find picks to get back into this game or just rely on Kelra to farm up.
Yeah, other than that, the pressure is on now for Ryzen to just win Retribution battle somehow. Because, and I say somehow, because Blacklist have the control, will Ryzen and the members of Omega even be able to get close to contest? Not this turtle, but when the Lords start coming up for the matchup.
Yeah, speaking of the turtles, the Lords, it's all under control of Blacklist International right now. Where is the chink in the armor here? What do you think is Omega's plan here to get back here?
A Numenon Blast, probably.
Yeah.
Heavy spin, somehow stack that all together. Stone's still catching up with the damage, so he's not going to be dealing as much damage as Yue is already doing so. 3K gold lead, slowly ballooning. It might get to the point where this might even extend to a 5-6K before Omega finds a way to turn it around, and that is worst case scenario.
And the only positive I can think of is last series, Onyx was ahead by 5K, then Echo just finished the game.
Yeah.
So you never really can tell, right?
You know, it's definitely a possibility too. You know, anything can happen. Heavy spin going to come out from Ryzen. Focus here on this tier 2 turret. Stome going to try to bob and weave. There's the return with the real world manipulation. Yue, though, going to get healed up. Renzio goes in with the final slash. But the follow-up, here comes Miko, though. Can he land it on the target? Only hits Oh My Venus. And that is not going to be a go signal for Omega.
Yeah. That's the least stonks Numenon Blast I've ever seen.
Yeah, but it made sense why he didn't use that flicker, because even if he landed all 4,
they went back.
No damage.
Yeah, no damage. Omega couldn't fight that. Way too risky. Just that scenario. And again, power of Estes and power of the Ubi strategy. And I want to commend Yue for holding on to that real-world manipulation, because he didn't expand the cast so that he'd stay there as long as possible, because Ryzen was literally standing there going, please get out of the real world so I can knock you back to my tower. Please do that. But then, no, Yue held on to it.
Yep, definitely having a tremendous game right now is Blacklist. In each and every fight, they seem to be juggling the damage output of Omega to its maximum potential. Of course, the healing, always present.
That's the thing, right? Is even if let's say Miko gets a 4 or 5-man Numenon Blast, the damage just isn't technically there right now, because even if Kelra jumps in with a Blazing Duet and hits multiple members, the healing is going to pretty much out-sustain that, right, at this point. So there's a lot to catch up here for Omega. Now, that's not to say that they're out of it, but this is where these objectives happen. They should be able to contest these, because if they give away these objectives, it's going to be tough to deal with. Look at this. The damage is there. Renzio, 1 hit away. Wise able to grab it. And all this now, eyes possibly set on the Lord. They also get the heavy spin out from Ryzen. So he does not have that for this Lord.
Oh, 2-man taunt coming in from Wise. just in time, and Blacklist, of course, set that up perfectly as they get the Lord. And it looks like they'll also be able to push the mid lane after clearing this minion wave. Let's see if Stone and Rising can hold it.
Yeah, Energy Eruption not nerfed. It was only damage, and Energy Eruption is one of the biggest skills of a Fredrin. Was untouched in the patch. That's why Fredrin seems to be still very strong right now in our games.
I mean, it's not like they extended the cooldown of anything, so it's fine. Fredrin's still going to be Fredrin.
He's still going to be 95+%.
Yeah.
You know, he might have lost a couple percent, but he's still Fredrin. He's still Fred. He's good
still
old
the
Fred.
big boy.
Yeah. And, you know, that's the thing, is like at this point, I mean, where does this stand for Omega, Redmar? Because how do they get even back into this game?
They're going to have to wait for Oh My Venus to expand or expound on the usage of the ultimate of the Estes. Like, once you see Oh My Venus use the Blessing of the Moon Goddess, that's when you go all in on the fight. You can't go into the fight, combo, everything, Blazing Duet right away because, again, they're still catching up on the damage. Blacklist will just be able to heal all through that. They have to wait for key abilities to be used, like this.
Okay, they're going to find Wise here. He's caught into the turret, but they don't have enough damage again. Calbro goes on the backside with a Blazing Duet. Miko not going to find the connection he was looking for, and that's the sustain we were talking about. And in that fight, nobody falls. But now Omega still on the defense.
All right, I'm going to play a game with you guys. Craft the win. What's the win condition? What are the layering that Omega has to do? They have to put a heavy spin on Oh My Venus, right? And Miko has to put on... What else?
Blast.
He's got to get a Numenon Blast.
And again, it's a timing. I literally just said it that Omega needs to wait for them to use the key abilities first. Watch out for the ultimate of the Estes. With the ultimate of the Estes gone, that's when you go in full. But then I also get why Omega are starting off with the Blazing Duet because they're forcing the ultimate of the Estes to come out first. But without the Blazing Duet, how are you going to damage?
I mean, okay, Stone did just pick up a Necklace of Durance.
Oh, there it is.
So maybe that is part of this winning scenario for them, right?
Yes.
Craft the win. There it
Get
is.
it. Even if he gets the real-world manipulation copied, then at least you can apply that debuff around the best you can and then follow it up with hopefully an amazing Blazing Duet.
I really hope Kelra considers building a Sea Halberd here.
That might be it.
This guy.
Honestly, with the new punish mechanic
Makes
onto
sense.
it makes a lot of sense. You're gonna be dealing more damage onto heroes that have more HP than you. It'll be good.
Let's find out if that's going to be the case here. For sure, the gold standard is going to...
Oh,
there
I
it is.
told you, boys.
Right on cue. Right
The call.
on cue. By the way, it's a 2-1 game, by the way. No kills happening that much.
Yeah.
Just so in case people don't know this.
That's what happens when there's, so much sustain and you're so far behind you actually couldn't fight those fights. But now, I gotta say, they have the tools to actually help counter this. Miko gonna charge up. They do find Wise. That's huge. But another member's gonna fall. It's Renzio that goes down. Owl unleashing on
Oh my God, Owl!
The damage is there. Owl comes in with a Blazing Duet. Owl's still alive for a little bit longer. The sustain is too much.
Oh my goodness!
As they take out Miko, it looked like there was a little bit of hope for Omega. But in a snap of a finger, Blacklist International now marching it down mid.
Can they defend?
They don't even need the Lord,
No heavy
they
spin.
say.
No heavy spin.
No heavy spin here. Ryzen trying to hold on. It's Kelro versus the wall.
Oh!
He gets taken out way too fast.
No minions.
And Renzio,
No minions.
there's no minions. So Omega holds on for a little bit longer.
And that is as clutch as it can get. Beautifully done there, I have to say. When they took out Wise, it looked really bad, and Kelra really maximizes that Sea Halberd. But you saw Owl, man. If there was an Owl highlight reel, it starts with that one.
Yep, everything was clutch for Blacklist. Owl was definitely the clutchest of them all. Edward gets wiped back.
Final Slash going to be used again. The focus for the turret. It finally goes down. Look at the heals. Edward still alive amidst it all.
They're
going to focus him down, but they can't get to him.
Unbelievable.
They lose the 2 inhibitor turrets, and the whole time Lord secured as well for Blacklist.
Omega, the Barangay, they're really holding on to this as much as they can. It's just a seeming like every turn, Blacklist just takes something out of the pocket that they did not expect. 10K gold lead for the agents so far.
Honestly, Omega have the tools to turn this game around. They're just going to have to out-execute Blacklist International. It is a 10K gold lead, but their Claude's already set. That is their condition.
Yep.
Claude's fine.
They got
maybe,
DPS.
Yeah, maybe Malefic Roar is just one more item that Keller's waiting for. Maybe Wind of Nature, but nah, they have the tools that they need to turn this around. To somehow out-execute them, layer your abilities, time it well.
Stone needs an ultimate as well. He did get you away. There's the real world manipulation. They got to take care of the Lord too. Why is Immortality going to be popped here? Renzio falls though. Do they have enough firepower? They're kind of in a bad position. The slam comes down from Edward. They're going to be zoned out here for now. Omega holds on a little bit longer. Minions are there. They got to clear them out. Blazing through it. It's not enough. Blacklist sweeps Omega.
In a classic fashion, our El Clasico returns with Blacklist on top once more.
Tried and tested. The standard that was set by Blacklist. They still got it. And they still get the sweep victory over their age-old rival Smart Omega. Poetic. Trial by fire succeeded by Al, and they did so with the signature Ube strategy.
What a way for Al on his debut day. A 2-0 sweep against none other than the Venom themselves, who are itching and clawing their way back up on the leaderboards.
You know, even at that last moment there, the 10K gold lead that Omega was working against, it looked like there was moments where it was going to work, but inevitably they just couldn't keep up. Again, with that sustain, with the way that things were overlapped really well, and even with the tools they had, man, I got to say, they didn't utilize the setup potential that they had, and they just got too far behind.
So many Numenon blasts I wish or I hope were a lot better.
Yeah.
I mean, they were trying. You can tell the trajectory was in that direction, but the timings were just off.
Yeah.